truth, there is no answer. And as a result, he has turned his attention, instead of searching for answers outside, in the books, in the scriptures, with the people, going from person to person, guru shopping, all that has stopped. Because the answer is not outside. Where is the answer? It's within. You are your own answer. To know how foolish it is, you are your own answer, and someone has to remind you that you are your own answer, is it? You are your own answer. And yet, we look for answers everywhere. Why? Because we are not ready to look at ourselves. Because we don't want to look at the real answer. It sounds nice when someone else speaks about the answer. It sounds nice when the words fall on the ear. You are that answer. You yourself are the answer. These words sound very nice. Oh, I am myself the answer. Yeah, what a fantastic talk he gave, What fantastic idea the Upanishad is presenting, It is not to be commented upon. It has to be contemplated upon. It can be contemplated upon only by a person who has come to renounce the world, having lived the life in the world fully, and come to recognize that it can never give him what he is seeking, the happiness. Then a student is slowly getting qualified. This person, this student, he has renounced the world, that it contains no charm or fulfillment, and who has read about the truth and possesses some vague academic knowledge of the self, but now wants to attain that state of fulfillment and is eligible for the study of Sadachara. See? So he's not getting involved, he's not going and gossiping, he's not involved in finding out, what happened here, what happened there. Nothing. No point in pursuing the world. Reads. Nisargadatta Maharaj, once he went to the satsang, he heard, you are that. Once was enough. How many times have we repeated? And how many years have we been repeating it? It took him 2 to 3 years and everything was over. What we are doing? We are making the iron hot, and then, I will mold it after some time, and we keep it. But by the time you are ready to look at it again, you can't mold a cold iron. So again you go to a satsang and make it hot. And then again you come out of the satsang and say, I will mold it, there's still time, let me think, I have to cook the meal now, I have to drive home now, I have to do this now. By that time again it has become cold. So you are never getting a chance to mold the iron. When is the best time? Now. Right here and now, at this moment. Jnana Siddhaye. This particular textbook is written and meant for such able students who have the ability to persevere and ultimately attain the final goal of knowledge of the eternal self. Persevere where? Only in the satsang? No. Also on your seat of meditation. Also when you are sitting all by yourself in your chair, having finished your tea, or having your tea, and you are contemplating. Persevere. Don't give in so easily. Suddenly, while you are thinking about certain thing, and suddenly the thought comes, oh man, I have to pay the bill. You can pay it in the afternoon. Let the thought conclude. Let it reveal. Just when it is about to reveal, understand, a distraction comes. If you can overlook that distraction, the revelation will happen. Because you have reached that level. Now the mind is afraid that it will get annihilated, that it will get surrendered, that it will merge into its source. So it comes up with a trick. And that trick is some distraction. It will make you go and, oh, I have to water the plants. Oh, I have to cut the plants. Cut back the roses. Oh, I have to sweep the front yard. Something it will come up with. At that time, if you can overlook it and continue being with that japa, that mantra, that contemplation, a revelation will happen. Don't give in. And who was this? The four basic topics dealt with within this text are pointed out in this verse. First is Adhikari, the fit student. Who is a fit student? The fit student is a yogi, and we have already described who a yogi is. Second is Vishaya, the subject matter. And what is the subject matter? Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta. And what is the Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta? Grahitam Shivam Nirvalam Sadacharam, mean auspicious, pristine, pure Sad Achar, the conduct of the truth. That will be the topic. That is the essence of Vedanta. Sambandha, relationship between Sadhya Sadhaka and Bodhya Bodhaka Sambandha, that is the identity between the seeker and the sought through knowledge and the means of knowledge. And the Prayojana, the purpose, is Jnana Siddhaye, for the attainment of Siddha. Siddha means attainment. Jnana is the knowledge, attainment of the knowledge. Meaning, and this knowledge is not the relative knowledge, it is the wisdom. Jnana Siddha is attainment of the wisdom. And therefore, in the following 13 shlokas, the teacher sets forth 12 rules regarding the proper conduct of a man aspiring for liberation. What are the 12 ways that he must behave, that he must conduct himself in life? And we'll see it from a common man as well as understanding and a seeker's understanding. Two standpoints we'll take. And these are to be followed every day, without fail. And these become the pointers for a seeker who has commenced his journey. Is it 9:15, is it?
Quarter to 9.
Quarter to 9.
Oh, okay. So in this way, before we take up these verses, we must realize that Bhagwan Shankaracharya was not opposed to Vedic ritual practices or Karma Kanda, but rather he considered them to be a material goal oriented. On the other hand, he provides the spiritual students with tools to cultivate a noble and disciplined way of life with a proper sense of detachment from material gains, which is a prerequisite to enter the Vedantic path of self-inquiry. It is essential to develop a complete sense of detachment even regarding the various practices of sadhana, and to constantly maintain the sense of identity between the Jiva and Brahman, which lies deep beneath these spiritual practices. The Upanishads declare, Tyage naike amritatva manashu.